Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today we have Brandon,
Hello.
and we're here to talk about games and things.
Yes, we are.
Let's see. Brandon's got his favorite series, Jet Set Radio.
I do have my favorite series.
I don't know what Trombone Champion is, but I'm sure it's like Guitar Hero with a trombone instrument to play with.
It is. It absolutely is, and it's fantastic.
And then I'm, cleaning up my backlog.
Mm-hmm.
I got Xenoblade Chronicles, Advance Wars 1 and 2, Reboot Camp on the docket. Slow news week, but maybe we'll find something in there. And that's where we're at. Ready to get started?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I hate to do it. I'm going to have you start because my stuff is old.
Okay. So my stuff is older.
I know, but you haven't talked about it in the last week. That's the only reason.
That's true. All right, so let's this is actually going to be leading into a story, so I'm glad you chose me first.
Okay.
So I bought a converter on Amazon for $15.
What does it convert?
It converts composite to HDMI.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had one of those for the GameCube.
Yep. So I got one of those, and I was going to use it on my Xbox. But come to find out, the Xbox I got for my brother that I traded him for maybe about a year ago now. Yeah, the caps have busted. So it's now a nice paperweight.
Is this like OG Xbox you're talking about?
Or OG Xbox. I don't know if you know about the issue the OG Xboxes have.
No, not really.
So there are these capacitors in every single OG Xbox known to man that if you did not remove them in time, over time, they will explode inside and leak out over the motherboard, permanently destroying the Xbox.
Oh, I have heard such a thing. It's just been so long since I've heard it, I forgot.
Yes. So it turns out, between last year and yesterday, those caps have blown up inside of my OG Xbox.
Oh, that
and
sucks.
It no longer works.
That really sucks.
I guess I'm just going to have to emulate Jet Set Radio Future at 4K, 60 FPS, all that good stuff. The main reason I did this and was going to originally play it, my 100% legally owned copy, because I will never get rid of my copies of Jet Set Radio, is because this weekend on Saturday, it's actually my streamerversary, apparently.
Okay.
And what that means, I got like an email from Twitch, was like, hey, it's been 2 years since you've been partnered with Twitch and started making money through us and that sort of shit. And as such, we are now doing these things called streamerversaries, where you could choose around the time that you originally got partnered, choose like a week ahead or a week before, or the actual day of, depending on what you pick. So it's like a 3-week window that you can pick the day that you want to do it on. And they advertise your stream to a lot more people, and that sort of thing, for your streamerversary, as well as I think it has something to do with the income that you get from any kind of subs or whatever that's given to you during that stream. So I wanted to do a stream anyway, and I decided for my streamerversary, I'm just gonna do games that I really fucking like the games that bring me joy.
Yeah. Reasonable.
So I'm going to play the entire Jet Set series, basically. And I am also going to try out, at least at the beginning of it, to get people in there in the first place. I'm going to try out Tears of the Kingdom, because Tears of the Kingdom releases Friday, and my streamer anniversary is Saturday. So, yeah. And I wanted to play Tears of the Kingdom anyway, so that gives me an excuse to do that, and then go straight into one of my favorite games of all time, my favorite game series of all time, which is Jet Set Radio. As the best soundtrack, so fucking good. One of the best extreme sports, quote unquote, games. Very innovative and inventive, very different from anything else. And the difference between the original Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future is like night and day, essentially. So showing that will be very interesting.
Yeah.
So my plan was basically to buy a little converter to convert it to HDMI, plug my Xbox in, but I then found out my Xbox was broken. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get out my Dreamcast.
Okay.
Because, it also has composite. So I got out my Dreamcast, and it worked perfect. It worked absolutely perfectly. So I at least have some use for the box still. The Xbox isn't completely dead. It's just got a lot of damaged components. So if I could get the the composite port working again, as
Hmm.
well as the drive bay door, the one that opens, closes, you put the disc in and all that
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
jazz. If I could get those two components working again in the next like 5 days, I can like officially do it on my my Xbox original. But if I can't, I've got this neat little bezel that I've set up on my Twitch stream, which if I can't really link you right now, but you know where my Twitch is.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend going and checking it out right now if you have a chance, if you can possibly. It's really, really neat. It got the Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future bezel that kind of looks like those little like arcade cabinets where you look inside of them and everything. And then I've got the game running in the middle, like a cutout with the game inside of it, and it's super fucking cool. I don't really know how I could show you it, but like twitch.tv Kagato Asuka, if you could go there right now and look at it, it'd be really fucking cool. But I set that up essentially as a backup just in case I can't get the Xbox working. So
Oh, it looks really nice.
it's neat. I thought that was a really cool thing that I found. And I was like, I'm gonna do this. So that's my plan for that one at least. So I can still maintain the 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah,
Because I think the games look better with that aspect ratio personally.
agreed.
Granted, the box for the Dreamcast does stretched, but it doesn't do full stretch. So it still looks pretty good, in my opinion. And I linked that also in our chat. And if you wanted to check that out or whatever, it looks good. I like what the box does, and 15 bucks, I mean, it's kind of a fucking steal. So
Yeah, not bad at all.
so that's essentially my plans, and that's what I wanted to do. Then the other game that I have here on this list is Trombone Champ. And Trombone Champ is a game a lot like Guitar Hero, but with a trombone.
Hmm.
It's also kind of a shit post. So the reason why I found out about this game is actually YouTube Shorts. So on
Okay.
YouTube Shorts, I saw that people had modded this game
Uh-huh.
on PC, where you can add like your own music and stuff. So they've got like trombone versions of the Wii Shop channel and stuff that they have like fully charted out and everything, and it looks incredible and it's
Hmm.
so funny. And I saw that and I was like, I really want that game. And then lo and behold, Humble Bundle had a rhythm game bundle that came out this past week. And Trombone Champ's in the rhythm game bundle. So I picked
How
it up for 12
convenient.
bucks. I picked it up for
Yeah.
12 bucks. It came with like 6 other games. I haven't looked into the other ones. I know one of them's Melody Escape 3, which I mean 2, which I've already played the first one and I really like the first one, so that's cool. I'll probably check that out as well. But the main game I wanted was Trombone Champ. And it's really good. So
Hmm.
essentially the way it works on the generic base version of Trombone Champ is they've redone like all of the well-known songs like Happy Birthday and ABCs and Row 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 Your Boat and like Oh Canada and all this other stuff. They redone them played on trombones.
Okay.
And as the you have your character on the left side of the screen with their trombone, and then on the
Hmm.
right side of the screen you see like the lyrics and like the trombone press. And you have to use your mouse and like move it up and down on the note chart to where the trombone press is, and then like click and hold, but you can't like click and hold and then travel over to the next note if there's like another one. You have to let go to give yourself a breath. So you actually have to breathe in so that you don't run out of breath while playing the trombone in the game and everything. It's really interesting and really weird, and I knew it was going to be weird because when I first booted the game, the first thing I got was a warning about jump scares. And I was like,
Okay.
what the fuck is this? So it turns out there's even more to this game. There's like a little horror element or something, and I haven't fully figured it out yet. There's an area that just says the baboon on the main menu. And if you go there, once you've gotten 4 S ranks, you're able to unlock a door. And then once you unlock the door, this like demonic looking baboon head just jolts out from under the screen and comes up on screen and starts talking to you and everything. And then you have to do other little quizzes and tests and do this, that, and the other to like appease it in some way. And I don't know where this is going, but it's really weird and it's like right up my alley because it's a
Yeah, it
rhythm
sounds
game and it
really
also
odd.
has this really weird element to it as well that doesn't make any sense for a rhythm game. And I like it. So for $12, I definitely say this is definitely worth playing. And I think it's only $20 new. So I mean, if you want to like just buy it new instead of in a bundle,
Mhm.
You could do that as well because it's only $20. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. And looking at the modding scene, there is a ton of custom songs that people have made for this game. I've seen someone play Through the Fire and Flames on trombone. So like
Uh-huh.
there's crazy shit out there that you can play in this game, and it looks like a lot of fun. I'm gonna dip my toes into that once I finish the main game though. So yeah, that's what I've been doing basically.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at a video of it right now. It looks pretty interesting.
It's very fun.
It's just like me characters, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Wii Music.
A little bit. I actually thought of that when I first started playing it.
Okay. Interesting. No, it looks fun. I mean, I know you love music games, but yeah, this is a interesting concept.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
It's
What else?
highly rated. Like it's rated like overwhelmingly positive. So that means
Oh, really?
something. Yeah. Yeah. So there's
It's an
that.
interesting little game. And like I think music games have gotten a lot more not mainstream, but you know what I mean. Not
I
as
feel like
niche as they
rhythm
used to
games
be.
have been coming back a lot lately.
Yeah. After
Mhm.
Rock Band and Guitar Hero drove them into the ground.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's nice
Which,
to
by the
see.
way, I think I'm not sure if I've shared this with you, but you know about the whole Rock Band and Guitar Hero thing, how there's been like a resurgence recently, and how the actual plastic peripherals have taken a fucking massive leap in price now. Did you know about
No,
that?
I did not.
All right, so I'm gonna give you a small example because I'm gonna be actually selling my Rock Band 4 set. So I have a Rock Band 4 set, like the entire thing. Everything works perfectly.
Uh-huh.
I barely used it because I didn't really like Rock Band 4. So, this will help fill a little bit of time for the podcast as well. So, I think this is the best way to do it. During the great purge of the plastic instruments,
Mm-hmm.
for both Goodwill and GameStop, and as well as places like Walmart and all these other places. Um, so funny story. Much like ET cartridges, they had to dump them all in a landfill and destroy them, and so did Harmonix, especially when they went under. If you
Oh,
recall, Harmonix went under, and so did Mad Cats, who worked with Harmonix.
yeah.
So a lot of the peripherals stopped being made. So there is now currently a finite amount of Rock Band guitars and drum kits and other things that still work. Meanwhile, they are still releasing weekly songs for Rock Band 4.
I didn't know. They're still releasing weekly songs for
They
Rock Band
sure
4?
are. Yes,
No
they are.
fucking way.
Yes, they are.
I'm shocked.
I know. I know.
I'm legitimately surprised by this.
So, because of all of that, and because of how difficult it has become to get like a full band set up for
Mhm.
the Xbox One/PS4, those go for about $900 online.
Well, I mean, I'm
Because,
looking at the ones that I have for the
Mhm.
Wii, and even they're expensive.
Yep. So yeah, that's a little story. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
planning on cleaning up my set that's been on my storage unit for a while, and just selling that off and making a nice chunk of change off of that.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Dude, a bass pedal alone sells for like $35. That's
Oh,
just
really?
stupid. That's just stupid.
Yeah, no. I'm surprised people pay for it. To some degree.
It's
But, people pay for anything.
true.
So, it's kind of like, I don't know if I told you, there's one book for the Dead Space stuff that I was trying to get. I have
Mhm.
it digital. I bought it on like a digital copy for my phone, like, I don't know, whenever it came out, and it was like $5. The
Mhm.
physical copy of this book, though, is like $200.
Yep,
And
that
I'm like, the
happens.
fuck? Like, what is wrong with this? Can't you just like make it like an on-demand book? Like, that's the thing that people do. But nope,
Nope,
apparently not.
you don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta fight for. I had a couple where they like put it up and like started like a bidding war on it. And they
Mhm.
started like reasonable. I was like, I think my max price for like my max price was like $60.
Yeah, that's just
And even that's expensive. So yeah, no. So needless to say, I do not have it yet, and I've not seen one sub $100
you
in
probably
weeks.
never will. You'll probably only see it go up.
Maybe, but I mean, things are only as valuable as like demand, and it doesn't seem like it's selling that
So
well.
I would agree if it was not for the fact that you're looking at a video game collectible. No one is demanding a copy of the Flintstones on the NES But that game is like $4,000.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Maybe we can just. Maybe EA will change their mind one of these days and
Nope.
just make it not dumb.
Nope.
Speaking of video game collectibles, actually just random one that I bought the other day, which I have not talked about yet, and it's really not exciting.
Okay.
But since we're on the subject of it. So you know how at like Nintendo World, like the Universal Studios thing, they have those like watches or whatever?
I do know that. Yeah, the ones that you have to use in the actual place.
Yeah. So I bought
Theme
one.
park. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes, theme park. So they had a limited edition one in Japan. It's like a gold one. And I was like,
Okay.
I probably should buy it before you can't find it anymore. And so I did. Imported
Dude,
it
that's going to
straight from
become
Japan.
lost media at some point in time. And then you're going to be like, well, I have it.
It's interesting. Like, it's bigger than I expected it to be. Like, it's bigger than my wrist. Like, it's huge.
I'm going to need pictures of this. This sounds awesome.
And then it's like a slap, like a slap bracelet kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you just hold it underneath things and it activates stuff in the actual park.
Yeah.
I watch people use them and it's really fucking cool, actually.
No, it's really cool. I really want to go. I'm probably gonna wait.
I really want you to take that to the American park and see if anything happens.
I would think it would. I don't know.
Well, it has an NFC chip inside of it. So
yeah.
Will the Japanese NFC chip work with the American theme park?
So theoretically, it should, because the way the NFC chips are like programmed, at least for like the other series.
Yeah.
Like they're not differentiated by, like for
region?
your regular Amiibos, they're not differentiated by the region. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the question is whether or not those wristbands are.
That's what I'm talking about. Because like that's a place. You have to actually go there, you know?
Yeah. I wonder. Let's see. Someone has to have tried that. Do Japanese wrist Amiibo? I don't remember what they're called. Work at Nintendo World California.
You'll have to be the first person that does it. Do a YouTube video and then get millions of views being like, we're going to find out if the Japanese watch for Nintendo World Japan works in Nintendo World California. Let's go! And then, you got to have all that high energy and everything.
Oh, so apparently, this band was a special limited edition for the park's second anniversary.
Oh, wow.
And it says like specifically when it's done, it's done. How
much you pay for it?
Well, it was $45. However, well, the shipping is like $30. So
I mean, that makes sense if it's coming straight from Japan. It makes sense.
Yeah, because worldwide shipping is just like stupid right now.
Yes, I do not sell anything outside of the U.S. right now because of that reason.
Because there's a couple, like, I think when I was talking about my Clue stuff, I imported a couple of them from like the UK because there's like some cool ones that you can only get there. And like I'd get the game for like $5 and the shipping would be like $30. I'd be like, this is dumb. But I really want.
It's because of customs and shit like that, and there's like shipping taxes in other places, and it's fucking stupid.
Yeah. So there was what was I gonna say? Yeah, and there was some cool versions of Clue that I was like, well, I just have to have it. Like I got one that's like it's like Clue and a stolen Stegosaurus. And I was like, a limited edition, like, yeah. It's a limited edition like museum, like for the Museum of National History in like London. And it just like instead of someone dying, someone stole a Stegosaurus. Like GTFO out of here. Like nobody believes that. But Stegosaurus is my favorite, and it's got like a huge Stegosaurus skeleton like right on the front.
Actually, he went back in time and stole a live Stegosaurus.
Okay, so it says apparently the bands work at all Super Nintendo worlds, including Japan and Orlando.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
Well, there you go.
Mystery solved. But so even like the ones, like if I wanted to get the US ones, so part of the reason I justified it, like, is if I wanted to like buy one from someone who's selling the ones from like California, they're still selling for $60. So I'm just like, well, this limited edition one, if it's gone forever. It's going to be annoying. It's going to get more expensive. And I'm like, I might as well just buy it now. Well, it's slightly elevated in price instead of waiting until it gets stupidly elevated in price, like some of the other amiibos.
But see,
like,
it's technically not elevated in price. It sounds like you paid a normal price, and then it was just like, yeah, but it's coming from Japan, so pay those import fees, baby.
Yeah, it's probably exactly. I probably paid the normal price and then the import fee, and then it just cost a little bit, slightly more than what the people are trying to sell them for here.
You hold on to that until the park shuts down, and then that shit's gonna be worth a lot.
I wouldn't even take this long because the gold ones, like if they stop them when they're out of stock, then they'll probably be pretty rare. Like in my mind, I just imagine it being like that QB amiibo, where it's like, I don't know, I begrudgingly bought it for like $60 or something at one point. So I'm like, well, I have to import it. I might as well do it sooner than later. And now it's like $400 even open. So
isn't
it's
it like $600 now?
I haven't checked it in a while. Could be.
I don't know. I might have made that shit up. I made it the fuck up.
It could be. Let's see. Well, it's $328 on eBay. It looks like so expensive.
And you have it used?
Yeah, I opened it. I don't keep mine in the boxes. I free it, so I'm fine with it. I like having them out of the boxes.
I can't do that. I can't do it.
A, the boxes take up so much space. B, I like to actually use them.
Yeah, but the boxes have such nice back cards.
I know.
And it always works with like the actual character that's inside. It like offsets them very nicely. So like it like accentuates the actual amiibo inside.
Usually.
There's a few where it doesn't, but I think most of them do.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of them are pretty good. And I agree. I always hate like opening them, but then I'm like, I want to use it. And then like, I don't know, a lot of them I'll open and I won't use it. Like I haven't used a lot of the more recent Smash ones. I'm just like, they fucking look cool. I'm like, I just like freeing them from their boxes. I am bummed I didn't get the pre-order for the Pyra and Mithra amiibo because I missed it. Because for whatever reason, my phone's been spotty lately and my alerts didn't show up. And I was like, that sucks. That's annoying.
You know what?
But I know usually the day it comes out, like I'll just have to just put a pre-order in for the store and just pick it up.
You know, it's probably a much better idea. Buy your amiibo, have it for display purposes, and then head over to Etsy. And you probably know what I'm going to say for the rest of this.
What? Just sell it?
No, have you not seen what people do on there?
No.
So people actually just make complete copies of the amiibo NFC chips. They get a hold of them. They get a hold of them, and then they sell them inside little playing cards for each one of the like amiibos. And you just touch that playing card instead, and you use that whenever you want to use it in the actual game, and then you get to keep the item that you purchased, without having to destroy the box or anything.
Yeah, but now I have 100 opened amiibos, so I can't switch it now.
Well, I'm aware, but like in the future you could, if you wanted to.
I mean, that's true. Or maybe like a series. I don't know. We'll see. So I got my Breath of the Wild amiibo coming this week. Not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Whatever the fucking game is. That's coming this week. So
the expansion pack to Breath of the Wild?
Yes, that one. So I got that to look forward to. I'm excited for that. And then... Oh, what else is there? The Pirate. There's the Pirate and Mithra amiibo. There's the more Xenoblade amiibo coming out with Noah and Mio. So those are coming out at some point, so I'm excited for that.
That's a thing you squeeze and put in your water.
And presumably, we're getting, I hope, a Sora amiibo, I guess.
I mean, if there's one thing that Square likes to do, it's slap Sora on everything. So I'm pretty sure you'll get a Sora amiibo.
Yeah, I've noticed. And it seems like they have so many different like sell-out versions of Sora. If for some reason we don't get an amiibo, I will be shocked. Like just legitimately shocked. Because like you can just get like so many crappy, like I don't know, Spencer gift style like Sora things. And it's like, yeah, if they just for whatever reason couldn't come to an agreement on an amiibo, that's just sad. But my guess is because everything we talked about, I think last week or so, but just the amiibo just got so backed up because of the pandemic. Yeah. They probably just haven't really talked about it because they don't really have a window for it. Huh?
I do have another guess.
Yeah.
Square Enix, if nothing else, they are incredibly greedy.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be having to split the proceeds with Nintendo. That they're just like, no.
But
yeah,
Square Enix already has a bunch of amiibo. There's Sephiroth, there's 2 Clouds.
You're right. I always forget about the Sephiroth and Clouds.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Disney threw a wrench in it. That'd be the only other kind of like
Why
maybe
would Disney throw
possibility.
a wrench in it?
Because they own Sora or whatever, right? Like to some
No.
degree.
Square
Shared.
Enix owns Sora. Disney owns everything surrounding Kingdom Hearts.
No,
That's
there is some weird licensing thing with it. I remember even Sakurai talking about it. Because
real.
wasn't that whole thing like he just happened to end up in an elevator with like a Disney executive, and that's kind of how he got the ball moving on it.
No,
Wasn't that the Legend of Sora?
that's the Legend of Kingdom Hearts, and that's how they got the Disney characters in the game. The Disney characters are the issue. That's why on the stained glass level on Smash Brothers, all the Disney characters have been replaced with other things.
So according to the leak, Sora got into the game by sheer coincidence while attending an undisclosed award show. Sakurai stumbled upon one of the managers of Disney and informed the individual that he wanted to invite Sora into Smash Brothers.
What the fuck? I thought Disney only owned the rights to the Disney. You know what I mean?
I think it's a weird shared rights thing, kind of like Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I know there's like I don't know. I follow a lot of the like lost media stuff.
Yeah.
And I know someone found the Kingdom Hearts cartoon that was being made by Disney. Did you ever see that?
No.
Yeah, it's really cool. You should look into it. It's neat. So apparently they were like little screen grabs for a long while about how Disney was working on a Kingdom Hearts cartoon, and it just got fucking shelved, just destroyed. Just get the fuck out of here. And then someone found it recently.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, honestly, they want to do something like that. Like, that seems like they should go more like the Nintendo route and do kind of like a CG movie kind of thing. Just don't let Square make it. I think it would look probably good.
But listen, Spirits Within was like cutting edge CG at the time.
Oh,
Now
I'm
it's
not
like
saying
garbage.
it was because it looked bad. I'm just saying because the story will be shit.
Well, I mean,
I don't understand that movie. Well, no, Spirits Within. What's the Final Fantasy VII one? Don't understand that movie even remotely. It's so fucking confusing.
Whoa! Why don't you understand Having Children? It's so easy.
No, it's not so easy.
What are you talking about?
There's like all these weird things going on.
The children.
I watched it again after I finished Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, Genova, need the children to do it.
And all I picked out of it was like, oh, here's all these things I remember from the game. But I don't know what the fuck's going on. Why is Sephiroth back? No clue. Like, it just like, why Cloud got some like weird ass sword? I don't know. It just kind of shows up. It looks like it's really cool looking. Like it is a graphical masterpiece. But story-wise,
there's only one thing I actually remember about that movie.
Yeah.
It's the Tifa shower scene.
Nope, don't even remember that.
You don't remember that? Oh my god, it was so funny. Like, she fights someone wearing a towel.
Oh.
It's the most fan servicey. I mean, the burger. So I started laughing and choking at the same time. It's so fan servicey. It's such fan service.
Of course,
but
fan
like,
servicey.
But like, it's hilarious.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good. It's good to watch. I just don't know what's going on. I think the only Square Enix made thing that I really liked was, and I do think it was actually like if we're gonna talk about like good kind of like CG and like script stuff, the one that they did for the Animatrix was excellent.
So good.
That was as the Flight of the Osiris.
That really shouldn't count. Like, that just shouldn't count. Because you know how the Animatrix was made, right?
How?
Well, Square Enix only gave them the money make it. Literally, the Animatrix was made up of multiple directors that all had different animation styles, and they just let them do whatever the fuck they wanted. The same thing that was done with
Square Enix did the
Batman
one specifically, that one, because there was 6 different animators things, but there was one, the Flight of Osiris, and that was specifically like Square Enix.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And that was like CG using like their technology and everything. My understanding was that they made it from top to bottom. I don't know if they involved the script.
Square Enix movies. Let's see what we got here. I'm just adding some time to this because I'm just having fun.
I don't think they've done much after that.
I'm gonna check it out. Square Enix movie. No, they've definitely done more. All right, let's see. We got what? Image Studios division. apparently made movies.
Okay.
Let's see what they've made. Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive. Kingsglaive was pretty good. That's it. Good.
Okay. So nothing wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see a rumor actually recently. We can talk about that during news, I guess.
Yeah, I did have a rumor that I want to talk about too. I wonder if it's
Maybe
the
it's the
same
same
one.
one.
Could be.
We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. So we'll talk about just what I've been playing.
Right.
What did I play? I finished up Xenoblade Future Redeemed.
Yeah.
It was really enjoyable. I do think it like kind of brought it did end a bit of closure to kind of some open-ended threads on Xenoblade 3, even though it's a prequel, interestingly.
Okay.
It's got some weird concepts to wrap your head around. Not like story-wise, just kind of like logistics if you think about things. Like the ages of people in relation to the ages of other people and like the passage of time without spoiling anything, because there's just kind of some weird shit there. But yeah, no, it's really enjoyable. The gameplay is great. There's a lot to do. I really enjoyed exploring that world. They did some really neat stuff with it. I think they did a great job of kind of like fleshing out the areas that you were in and making sure that it was kind of responsible without getting too bloated, but kind of giving you a lot of stuff to go around and do. I always enjoyed kind of doing like those bigger boss battles. I will say kind of not the final boss, but maybe like the near the end of the game boss had like a bit of a difficulty spike that was annoying, but not like unbeatable. So it was just kind of I had to repeat it a few times more than I would have liked to. But otherwise, really good. I think if you're a fan of the series, I think you'll really enjoy it. I think it really just hit some like good notes. I was happy it didn't go super dark because I kind of was worried that's where it was going to go after Torna, because Torna did go really dark at the end of its story, kind of to close its own loop. This one did not. It was just kind of like a interesting ending that kind of sets up for where Xenoblade 3 is heading. It does leave some questions here and there. Depending on who you talk to, it confirms that to them that the Xeno games are all interconnected, like 100%. So like I want to see. I mean, like Xenogears, Xenosaga, Xeno Blade X.
Wait. Literally all of them.
Yeah, supposedly.
Okay. All right, that's pretty nuts.
I don't understand the intricacies enough to explain why. Because some of them have to do with some very like specific things that are mentioned that are very specific to certain games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they're just kind of like these things are all related. And you can kind of see how, like if you're familiar with the concept of the Xenoblade games, I guess it is kind of like a spoiler-ish for all of the games, but it's not really integral to the story. Just kind of like the birth of the world. Like basically, Earth is just rebooted at one point. It just kind of starts over, and that's just kind of how each of the games kind of starts off as part of that reboot. If that makes sense. So
basically, every single one of those games existed and didn't exist at the same time.
Yes. Or
that is very weird.
In the case of like say Xenoblade Chronicles X, like if you remember, that was like the setup for that story was, you know, there was a battle on Earth, and then like they were trying to escape in this ship to get to another planet before Earth is like destroyed or whatever. Like the thinking is that that ship escaped, and that the event that rebooted Earth happened.
Okay, that's kind of weird. I gotcha.
Yeah, and then the other ones I don't remember the connections to as much, but they have to do with some things that happen like in the last chapter of the game that are kind of like very specific to those games.
All right then.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I think it's interesting. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I think it's worth exploring and kind of seeing like what's going on there. Xenoblade 3, I think, has a really interesting story. And if you enjoyed Xenoblade 3, then you'll enjoy where this kind of goes from there, because it is a sequel to Xenoblade 1 and 2 directly, separately, and equally. They're like, and they, I don't know, it's like a convergence of those two games' stories. And then Future Redeemed is a prequel to 3 that explains kind of the backstory to some degree as to what happened between the primary event in Xenoblade 3 that kind of started the game and kind of leads up to how the world got to where it is at the end of, or at the beginning of Xenoblade 3. I don't know. It's wild.
That is pretty crazy. Like, that's just a lot. It's just like, hey, I don't know exactly. Like, because, like, obviously you're being vague to not spoil things, which, thank you. But, like, the way you always explain it, it just makes it sound like a big catastrophic event happened or something, and then that's what leads to the next Xenogears, or the past Xenogear games? I mean, Xenoblade games?
So, Xenoblade 1 and 2 are separately like prequels to Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Both of them.
Yes.
So separately. The different universes, I guess, from the rebooted world or
converge into Xenoblade 3.
That's what I was about to ask. Okay. That makes sense.
It takes a bit to wrap your head around.
Not really. I watch anime. That makes sense.
I mean, I guess that's true. But at least when you're playing it, it takes a bit to wrap your head around. And there's some other like kind of fuckery there. But like I said, I think last week when we were talking about it, one thing that I did enjoy about this game was that like it does a good job of like teasing out secrets. Like it'll be like, hey, this obvious thing is going on. And you'd be like, well, what's the mystery behind it? But then like it won't make you wait too long to like figure it out. Like you'll think on it for a bit and you'll obviously get some story bits.
It's like, here's the answer.
Yeah, here's the answer. And then they'll be like, but here's what's this other piece of this mystery that I'm just going to bring to your attention. And you're like, oh, what's this other mystery? And then kind of the same thing, another chapter goes by and it's like, oh, here's the explanation of this mystery. But what about this other mystery? And so like it does a really good job of kind of like directing you through. Reflecting on the story of 3, like I do really enjoy the story that they put together. And I think that Future Connected builds on that in an interesting way that does make you look at some characters a different way.
Okay.
But there is some like not time travel fuckery, just time fuckery. And it's a lot to wrap your head around sometimes. It's not hard. It's not like, I don't know, it's a really difficult game like time movie to like understand, like Looper. It's not like Looper.
Is Looper difficult?
I don't know. I was thinking Primer. I know Primer's really hard. Looper's not too bad. This isn't even like that bad. But it's just like there's some things that you just kind of like, okay. Like as they open up the layers of the onion, and you're kind of like, oh, okay. Like things are not necessarily as obvious as they seem when you first look at them. So I don't know. I'm just talking really vague, so it's not very helpful. But I will say, if you are interested in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it is worth checking out. So yeah, that's what I would say. That's where I am on it.
Okay.
Yeah. What else did I play? I played more Advance Wars 1+2.
Yeah, how you liking that?
I still think it's great. I love it. I am not going to finish this before Zelda. I can tell you that. Like I'm not making that much progress on it. But I'm pretty close to. I might finish Advance Wars 1 portion of the game before Zelda. I think I'm like 3 missions from the end for Advance Wars 1. So I've made some pretty good progress in that regard. But there's still like a whole nother game. So it's great. I still love the art style. I mean, the story is just kind of like there. Yeah. But it's interesting. Like I like kind of like the threads that are kind of pulling together on that. It's a lot of fun. It's just kind of addictive to kind of go in there and just kind of see what's going on and try the different things. And I don't know. It's kind of a hard game to go like in more depth with because it's, it is kind of like it's a strategy game and it's got a bunch of different options in there. But, once you kind of know the core of it, at least for Advance Wars 1, you kind of know the core of it. I do think that they do a nice variety of kind of mixing up the missions. I don't feel like any back-to-back missions are so similar that I'm just kind of like, I just did this. You just have different strategies between, say, even the different like COs than of the different armies, like when you're fighting them, that as you do like between the different missions. You're like, oh, this one's really good with like fog of war missions, and this one's got an advantage like with like airborne units, and this one's got an advantage with like naval units. So just kind of like balancing that stuff out is pretty helpful. And then you get to pick your own COs, and there's kind of some different paths that you can go on with that. It's like, oh, which mission who do I want to take on this mission? So you can just get some nice variety there, and that's kind of useful. Yeah, so I've really been really enjoying it. So I hope it's not a game that sits on my backlog forever.
Yeah, because you're about to have Tears of the Kingdom come up, so it's like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna forget this game even exists? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, like Fire Emblem. So
it's okay. Fire Emblem's fine to forget that it exists.
I did run into one of my friends the other day. I can't remember if I said this or not. I don't think so. And we were talking about games that we were playing this year, and he was like, "Oh, it's like this new Fire Emblem was such a disappointment." And he's like, "But I finished it." He's like, "I got 2 chapters from the end, and I was going to put it down." And I was like, "No." He's like, "I got to do it." And he's like, "Wasn't worth it, but I finished it." So I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, good to know." I'm like, the DLC's much better. He's like, "Nope, not going back for that, and I don't care." And I was like, understandable, because I would not tell you to, but surprisingly better than what it would be. So
you should have just been like, listen, I hated it too. I didn't like it at all. I really didn't like it. But the DLC, way better.
Oh, I mean, I told him, and he's like, yeah. He's like, but his big thing is kind of what we were saying. Is like, coming off of 3 houses to go to this.
It's bad. It's bad coming off of 3 houses.
Yeah, they left too much to be
so
desired.
much that felt like such a breath of fresh air with 3 houses. I mean, as a Persona fan, it just felt like Persona. But
it was a pretty big evolution of like that core gameplay.
Yeah, it was definitely. And then going backwards, it's a no. It's a no for me, dog.
And I would even say, like, to some degree, I think it was even more backwards than, say, like some of the like stuff that remake? Like Awakening and some of the 3DS games had. And just really left a lot to be desired. So
I agree. I think it was just bad. Like, that's just me though, but I mean, I've seen so many people be like, "Oh, it's such a good game," and I'm just like, "Did we play the same game?"
We've said before, gameplay's fine, but the story's just dumb.
Yep.
And doesn't seem to change.
I really like this new Fire Emblem. I'm just like, bro, my wife literally used her 1 Nintendo refund to refund that game. She did not like that Fire Emblem. And I did not either. We both sat down and played it, and we were like, this is ass. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it could have been just a case of, like, I would rather play a Fire Emblem like Persona now than old schoolish Fire Emblem. But, like, I don't know. So I was thinking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the story was so generic that I would rather play any Fire Emblem over Engage. Engage, as I mentioned before, just felt like a mobile phone game that was not a mobile phone game.
Yeah. Although you got slightly more depth than Fire Emblem Heroes.
I just meant how mobile phone games rely a lot on like nostalgia, so that you can pull those gacha characters, so that you can do that, and then like the characters and the story really don't fucking matter, and they're just kind of there. That's how Engage felt.
Yeah, and it does definitely have some of that like gacha bullshit. I mean, I guess to some degree, because you get those like stupid rings that you got to pull, and then they have like their different like classes and rarities, and that's kind of annoying. They don't really seem like so great. And then you have like all the different like bond rings, but even those things, like they're like, oh, you can play with Marth, but like it doesn't really add anything to it, and the dialogue or whatever from the old like characters, it's just kind of like
Emblem Engage is just Nintendo charging for a mobile phone game that they put on Switch.
It's just like, I used to live in the fields, and they were green. I miss them, and that's all the dialogue you get from the old heroes. And it's like, you know what I'd rather have? Maybe that old game where you actually like talk about this stuff, as opposed to say these things. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
no, I agree.
we're gonna talk about news.
Yeah, let's talk about news. What is your rumor? Let's hear your rumor.
Well, maybe we should do it on 3. We can see if we
Okay.
both have the same one.
All
All right,
right.
ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Sony
Konami
is
is
buying
Sony.
Konami.
Yeah, so apparently,
That's it.
we both saw the same rumor. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's kind of like not necessarily like buy them, but it's like they bought exclusivity for a bunch of, I think it was what, Metal Gear Solid remake.
Yep.
A Silent Hill game, and
That was
maybe
already
Castlevania.
announced, and everyone was like, "Why is this exclusive?" Because it was announced to be exclusive to PS5. The next 3 Silent Hill games.
Because Sony's got to be able to compete with Activision, obviously.
Oh yeah. In 10 years.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty sure that was confirmed now that like Microsoft can't do it again for 10 years.
No, they still have an appeals process.
Okay.
It's unlikely that they're saying it's unlikely that Microsoft will win this appeal, but they've increased their lawyerage to kind of see if they can find another angle on it. So we'll see. So the story is very TBD. There is, what was I going to say about Sony? Sony's got this. Oh, and supposedly there's going to be a state of play by the end of the month.
Yes, that was not specific. So that was mentioned already. They had been talking about having a state of play coming out around March. I mean, not March, May or June.
Mm-hmm.
So this is supposedly that state of play.
Yeah.
And apparently a lot of developers and studios have geared up already and have a lot to show off for said state of play. But
Geared up already. Ha ha ha.
Wait,
Like
what?
Konami geared up. Wink,
Oh,
wink.
Metal Gear. Wow, I wasn't even thinking about that when I said it.
Yeah, geared right up for it.
Yep,
Yeah, they did.
geared right up for Solid Snake.
Yeah, and I mean, this rumor of this Metal Gear remake to some degree has been floating around for a while. So
It's like
not
2 years now, right?
Yeah, I think so. The amount of remake has kind of changed.
Yeah.
But I think because at some point they're like 1, 2, and 3. The current rumor is just 3 that I saw. Which is fine. I don't know. I think
3's the best one.
You think?
Yep.
I think 1's the best.
I think 3's the best.
Actually, I think Peace Walker's the best. Unpopular opinion. I love
You know
Peace
what?
Walker.
Peace Walker's really fucking good.
Yeah. But yeah,
no, you know what? I got an even more unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Metal Gear Acid's the best.
Yeah, as a kind of that was a stray theory, I would say. But a bunch of people do love that game. Wasn't
That's
the second
really
one?
good
Wasn't
game.
there a second one? Wasn't the
Yes,
second
there
one
is.
better?
They're both on PSP. They're both good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's coming
I have
around.
those on my Steam Deck.
And Nintendo did, I guess, other stories. They did do their financial results, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
morning.
and I did see another thing where Nintendo was like, yeah, we don't plan on releasing any new hardware this fiscal year. And, you know, I just sit here and I think to myself, what the fuck are you doing?
So here's the thing with
Uh-huh.
that. Because from what I've seen, it is very contested what exactly they've said. And it seems to come down to the translator.
Okay.
So some people are translating as we're not releasing any more any new hardware this fiscal year. The other translation I've seen for it as our projections do not include any new hardware for this year, meaning that they're talking specifically about models that already exist as opposed to things that do not exist currently on the market.
Okay, that would be better because here's the thing. Let me just break this down for you. We had a little bit of a conversation before the podcast, so I can reveal this little bit of information that I've seen floating around, which is that Tears of the Kingdom is locked at 20 FPS on Switch, which that is stupid. That is ridiculous. You know, that is just ridiculous. That's not acceptable. You know, we sit here and we argue about things like on Series X, like, is 30 FPS acceptable? Switch isn't even hitting that! Like, come on! It's stupid. So anyway, moving on from that, that is the game that isn't hitting industry standards, even on the bare minimum, and yet they're charging $70 for. If there is
I think it's because they're already playing it on upres.
reason for that $70 price tag, right? If there's not an actual reason for that $70 price tag,
Mhm.
that's just pure greed. Like that is not acceptable. Like I look at something like, like the Demon Souls remake. Let's use that as an example. I look at
Mhm.
something like the Demon Souls remake and I'm like, that's worth $70. That is a thing that is worth $70. I look at Returnal, I'm like, that's worth $70. That is a thing that is worth $70. The things that I don't look at and say they are worth $70 is Tears of the Kingdom and fucking Redfall. Neither of those games deserve to be $70. Neither of those games should be $70. Like, I get it, inflation, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But technically, if you look at it from that point of view, games are actually making more money now than they ever have. So you really shouldn't need the inflation argument because it kind of is moot
Mhm.
when you look at the amount of money that games are making now compared to back then. So the inflation argument doesn't really work, especially when a lot of allocated business for games now is being done for advertisement more so than the game itself, and they're kind of sending out it to just be patched later and fixed up and that sort of thing. And we've even been seeing Nintendo do that recently as well with some of their games. And even in the past, if I need to remind you, Breath of the Wild did not release in a nice, clean slate with no issues whatsoever. It didn't. It just did not. Even with their brand new hardware, day one, Breath of the Wild had many performance issues. And when you look at that sort of thing, I can't help but feel that Nintendo is going backwards and not forwards in any way whatsoever. Like just completely backwards. What do we do? We got rid of our virtual console? Yeah. What do we do? We got rid of like our seal of approval? Yeah. Look at the shit that gets released on the Switch at times. Like boot up the Nintendo Switch store right now and you look at the like top sellers. They're going to be like 10 cent, 5 cent games that are just nothing but like ridiculous shovelware that make no sense or
The
are
last time I
literally just
looked at the
being done
top
up for
20
no
games, they were
reason.
all things I knew.
I'm talking about like the ones that are like sales, that sort of thing that's on sale right now. See, a
Uh,
lot of people do this thing where when a sale starts, they'll put their games that are like literal just garbage on sale for like pennies. So it gets pushed to the top of the charts because people buy them for pennies on the dollar using like their gold coins or whatever. Because like, yeah, it may be bad, but it's like 5 cents. So why not add another game to my Switch library? And that's like a thing that people actually do. And Nintendo doesn't like look through and be like, oh, this random game that is like nothing has come up to the top of our charts somehow under digital games. How'd that happen? And then on top of that, you look at it and it's like, oh, our first party titles that we're actually putting out now can't even maintain 30 FPS, which was our industry standard for last generation.
mhm.
Fuck it, who cares? It's just it does not make sense. It does not make sense, and Nintendo really shouldn't be getting away with it. Like there are plenty of games that get raked over the coals um for releasing in unfinished ways. But it seems like Nintendo just gets away with it no matter what whenever something releases that's not up to standards
I
of
don't
like
know.
the
There's lots
industry.
of bitching about Pokemon when it wasn't there. Um,
Oh yeah.
so just kind of looking
But
into
I
it.
feel like the cracks are starting to, you know, tear away. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Where it's like, yeah, people are seeing just how shit some Nintendo games are that are releasing, and they're not having it. And I think that if on day one it does turn out that Tears of the Kingdom is actually 20 FPS locked, like hard locked, that's the most frames per second you can get in that game. I feel like it's just going to be overlooked by everyone. And I feel like
This
that's
game is
just
not going to
like,
be overlooked. I think that's a very dramatic take. This game is going to sound like
no,
stupid
no, no, no,
amounts.
no, 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 no. That
Hmm.
issue of having a lower than like four console generations ago frame rate. That is what's going to be overlooked. The fact that it'll be running at like 20 FPS or something, that will be overlooked. The performance of the game will be overlooked because it's Zelda, because it's Nintendo, and they'll just get away with the same shit again. I feel like the only one that's currently being scrutinized is Pokemon. And I think that says a lot about Pokemon fans that they seem to have at least some kind of backbone.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that, like I said, if Tears of the Kingdom releases at 20 FPS, like as its actual baseline for the how like many FPS the game gets in general, if that happens, I'm not saying the game itself is going to be overlooked. I'm saying that performance metric, it's not going to be talked about. No one's going to point to it. No one's going to mention it. That's going to be overlooked. That's what I'm talking about. Something that is
Oh, no.
clearly a step backwards in the industry standards will just be overlooked because it's Zelda, because it's the sequel to Breath of the Wild, because of that reason. And that's just not acceptable.
Yeah, so they're saying that the patch is a pretty significant performance update.
Then that's good. But also then that makes me think, like, why are you taking such a massive release it now, like patch it later sort of approach, where like they were working on the patch during the pressing of the copies of the game? That just seems kind of like I don't know.
You
That
talk
seems
about
like
industry standard, Brandon.
no,
That
no.
is industry standard these days.
I'm well aware of it. That's what I was about to say. I was gonna say that seems like some EA or Activision would do, not
That is
Nintendo.
everyone
They're
does these
going to
days.
the wrong industry standard.
It is very rare for a game
I
to
know,
not
I know.
have a
I
day
know.
one patch anymore.
Well, no, I mean one that's that significant. That's like, yeah. I don't know.
My guess
If you
is
know you should
probably.
mean something.
I think that this game specifically, I mean, they probably had to press like a shit ton of copies of
Yeah,
this game.
yeah,
B, Nintendo is very deliberate with
yeah,
like their release dates.
yeah,
But C, they also do a very good job of like bug checking. If there's
yeah.
anything that Nintendo, like themselves, when they're
Mhm.
like the core developers, are good at, is making sure that like their games generally don't have any like game breaking bugs. Things generally run pretty smoothly. It's not like Bethesda, like, because you think about it, like I remember talking about this when Breath of the Wild came out.
Yeah,
For the amount of mechanics that Breath of the Wild had,
yes.
it's almost a miracle that it did not end up like a Bethesda style game.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no. I do agree with that. And it makes me kind of worried for Tears of the Kingdom. Because now you've got
um,
even more mechanics added onto that, and you've got the sky and the ground to take
yeah.
into account.
And just kind of like anecdotally, some comments that I've seen from people who've played it early
Yeah.
have said that Nintendo's even gone through and patched glitches that were previously in Breath of the Wild and made them not
Yes, I've
possible
seen that
anymore.
as well. I've seen that as well, which is kind of interesting
Yeah,
because now it's gonna like change up how people are gonna have to find those speed runs done again.
yeah. But I mean, I think that was something that was always really interesting with Breath of the Wild in the first
Yeah.
place, because it's like what the record. At least I'm sure it's even lower now, but it was like 20 minutes or something
Yeah, 20
disgusting.
minutes was what I saw. Yeah.
Um, and this one, I know they're already kind of like eyeballing it because that's what speedrunners do. But they said it's definitely going to be a much more significant challenge, which I think is exciting for this kind of game.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see where it goes. I think there's some interesting stuff there. I don't know. It's weird because it comes out in a couple days, and
It
I'm very
does. By the
excited about
time
it.
this goes out, we will have played the game.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, people will have played the game legally by the time this goes out.
yeah. Like more people will have played this game
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
normally and see what it's like running on a Switch with whatever that day one patch is.
yeah,
So they can see like what the performance is like normally. So
yeah.
I'm excited. I don't know. It's kind of weird because like even though I've kind of looked at some of this, like I mean I haven't like gotten too far into spoilers, but just kind of looked at comments on Reddit here and
Yeah.
there to kind of just have an idea of like where things are going and what people are saying. Like
Mhm.
I still feel like mentally I can't fully grasp everything that this game encompasses. Like there's a lot there. So it's kind of like this game is coming out soon. It's gonna be very excited. I'm excited to see what else in it. But I'm also kind of almost feel like it's gonna be like a blank slate going into it.
I
Because
feel
even
like. Oh, sorry. Move on.
oh no, I was
Continue.
saying because really I've not watched any video that's leaked. I've
Mhm.
only watched the official trailers from Nintendo.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of mentally, image wise, that's all I know. And
Mhm.
I'm sure people have already done some like stupid shit in this game
Yeah,
that I can't even
definitely.
like wrap my head around.
So, a few thoughts from what
Hmm.
I have seen. is essentially this feels like the Majora's Mask to Ocarina of Time, but for the Breath of the Wild universe.
Mhm.
It's a lot darker, and it's got a lot more themes that aren't as hey yeah
Yeah.
such as Breath of the Wild was. Breath of the Wild was generally, aside from the gigantic fucking vortex of evil in the middle and everything, Ganon's castle and all that stuff, you could still go to like towns and experience, people living their lives and this sort of thing. You had the forest with a sword, and you had all that stuff that you could actually experience. I feel like this feels a lot more dilapidated and like kind of hopeless in
Mhm.
some cases. And
Yeah.
it really has the same kind of vibe that Majora's Mask did. So I think some people are really gonna dig that, and I think others are gonna be like kind of put off by it. So
Yeah, it'd be
yeah.
interesting. I mean, usually these kind of experimental games
Mhm.
generally are pretty divisive. Like
Yeah.
Majora's Mask is one of those very divisive Zelda games. People either love it or hate it. There's kind of really no in between there.
Mhm.
So you have that.
I can never
Um,
really decide how I feel about Majora's Mask on any given day. Like, I don't
it's
know.
one of
Do I
my
like it right
favorites.
now? I don't know. See, like that's a stark contrast because, like, I know Wind Waker's my favorite. Just that's it. That's
and
just all
Wind
there is to it.
Waker's and Wind Waker's kind of one for me where it just kind of I will flutter back and forth up for me.
That's Majora's
Uh,
Mask for me. So
yeah.
we're like the exact opposite.
Um, what's to say? So, um, um, um,
What's up?
so it sounds like this new patch is stable 30 frames per second.
That's good. That's good.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll
Okay,
find out in a
we'll
couple
find
days.
out when it releases. We'll find
Hmm.
out.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's it. I don't have any other news. Do you have any
I
other
don't
news?
either. I got nothing else.
Okay. Ready to wrap up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Everybody to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. We also have game-crunch.com where you can listen to all of our old episodes. If you want to reach out to us, we're on Facebook or Twitter. You can send us an email, gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon,
Hello.
any final thoughts?
This week's my stream anniversary. I briefly mentioned it on the podcast, but if you'd like to come hang out with me and chill and watch me play through two of my favorite games, as well as some Tears of the Kingdom, at least just the beginning. Just the beginning. I'm not going to really spoil much. I'll probably do like 2 hours of Tears of the Kingdom and then play through both Jet Set games. I will be at twitch.tv / is it / I think so. Kagato Asuka, KAGATOASUKA.
Just cheat, just say slash.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
/ Kagato Asuka. Yeah, I'll be at that pretty much throughout most of the day Saturday, starting around either either 5 or 6 p.m. I'm not sure which one yet, but somewhere around there. So 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I should be already starting my stream by then on Saturday. So come in, hang out, say hi. I've got some new sound clips. Oh, guess what I added to my stream as a sound clip, Mike?
What?
Travis Touchdown saying "fuckhead."
Yeah, I like that. That's great.
Yeah, I added that to my to my Twitch, so people can annoy me with that now.
Hey, yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. And I also added so this is a meme that probably I'm only gonna remember, but this is going to be a short story. Sometime around the time that the game Fall Guys released,
Hmm.
Chuck E. Cheese, like a man in a Chuck E. Cheese suit that was the official Chuck E. Cheese Twitch channel,
Hmm.
did a stream of Fall Guys.
Okay.
And it was very obvious that he did not know any of the lingo, what streaming was, what Fall Guys was, or anything. So at one point during said stream, it's like playing the music for the stage and it's getting ready, and like the chat's like spamming him to say like the memes that are on Twitch. So someone's like, Chucky, say poggers. And then you just hear like them using it's like and then like the man in the mascot suit just stares right at the camera and just goes, poggers, and then just starts shaking violently. And it's the funniest shit ever. Every time I see it, I die laughing. And every time I hear it, I also die laughing. So I added that also as a soundboard to my stream,
Yeah.
and it makes me laugh every fucking time. You've got to look it up. Look up Chuck E. Cheese Fall Guys Poggers in YouTube. Mike, you have to see it. It's so fucking funny. Yeah, you do that when we get done with the podcast and write in chat your thoughts.
Okay.
Someone in the comments said it's almost as if he doesn't know what that word means, and he thought he just said something that could have gotten him canceled, and he starts shaking violently because of it. It's
I just
so
watched
good.
it.
It's so good.
Why is he shaking?
I don't know. I don't know why he shakes so violently. He's just like poggers, and then just has a fucking seizure immediately.
Look, what did I sell my soul for?
What did I just do?
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for me. Come to my stream and spam my questionable sound clips
Okay.
at me.
What is it again?
Twitch.tv/Kagato Asuka, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, my streamerversary.
Okay. There you go. And then for me, I'm Mike Anastasia. You can find me online or on your favorite gaming console. I'm Clash of Penguin. And until next week, game on.
Game on. Right after I wrote that, I realized Discord wasn't open.
I was like, that's so weird to have Brandon on Discord, because usually it seems like he will even lead it to like idle.
There was an update, and I forgot when I restart
Discord's
my computer to boot back up Discord.
so heavy-handed with its updates.
It was my PC.
Same thing. Windows is so heavy-handed with its updates.
No, it's not. It's literally been sitting there for 3 days, but I didn't want to mess with it.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah, definitely.
Literally, Brandon, if you do not update this second, I will murder your family. And they're like,
I'm
oh, I
not
guess I have to do
updating.
it. Oh, goodbye.